Hi, I'm Tim. Welcome and thanks for logging on. If you love this watch, email me, tmosso@thewatchbox.com. It's in the description below. Your purchase and pricing email question line for buying this or any watch you see on any of our platforms. Please reach out to me directly. Email tmosso@thewatchbox.com for pricing. Today, we're discussing a watch that is widely sought and quite rare, with only 188 movements made since 2016 and now discontinued. The Grönefeld 1941 Remontoire is hot stuff, and you can see in pink gold, surprisingly wearable. The Grönefeld brothers themselves like their bigger cases, hence they debuted originally with 43.5, but collectors asked for a smaller case, and so the 1941 case shape was born, named after the year their father was born. It's a 39.5 millimeter diameter. It is 10.6 millimeters thick, 47.2 millimeters from lug tip to lug tip, with a 20 millimeter spacing between the lugs. Now we'll throw it on my wrist, which is 16 centimeters in circumference, and I think the collectors had it right. I know the Grönefelds are big guys, but my wrist is tiny, so I love the 1941, and you'll appreciate in this down the barrel shot how far inboard of the edge of my wrist the lugs really are, making it easy to wear this watch. I would say on a wrist as small as 14 centimeters circumference and maybe even 13 and a half. It is flat. It has a concave bezel and profile, so it'll slide easily under a dress cuff. And this overhead shot always exaggerates the width of the watch, and you can still see, even though I'm pulling it fairly tight, that the lugs are inboard of the edge of my wrist. The strap is high grade, as you can see, large rectangular scale alligator leather. It's sort of a reddish brown with a sheer cut edge showing the layers of leather, a monotone stitch on the bottom. Once again, we have alligator, and then a contrasting color with a Grönefeld pink gold buckle. And you'll appreciate that the buckle has a little bit of an air de famille with the lugs. They're quite obviously drawn from the same design school. The lugs are remarkable, and you'll appreciate that these lugs have wonderful recesses that are mirror polished. This is hard to do. This is a laborious case construction. They also have an elaborate external fluting. The bezel is concave all the way around with the exception of 12 o'clock and 6 o'clock where it swells. We have a beautifully rounded and polished case flank and everything with a mirror finish. We have a conical knurled Grönefeld brand crown, and then underneath a very slightly domed sapphire, a dial made of sterling silver and then coated with rhodium. It is a beautiful dial with fired blue steel alpha hands at center, faceted and mirror polished individual hour indices. There's a satinated metal track for the counterweighted lancet style seconds hand, and then a little bridge as well as a hand polished and beveled Remontoire counterweight. The Remontoire activates every 8 seconds. It acts as a buffer between the mainspring barrel and the escapement. And the idea here is that the barrel will never drive the escapement directly. Every 8 seconds, a subsidiary secondary power reserve, a spring energized by this locking lever system, it tops itself off from the barrel. So the barrel, through the locking lever and the Remontoire spring, indirectly powers the balance. It's actually this spring and only this spring that directly feeds the balance wheel. So for the full 35 hours of power reserve before the stop works halts the watch, the balance will maintain constant amplitude for very regular timekeeping. It's very easy when a watch has constant amplitude to regulate it to be extremely precise. And it does have a stop works. The Grönefelds decided that the watch should stop rather than keep bad time or keep time poorly. That's why the stop works is there, because it's a lot easier to notice when your watch is stopped than when your watch is losing time. So that's the logic behind stop works mechanisms. They also prevent overwinding. The balance is free sprung, as you could see, and it features an overcoil hairspring with a Phillips curve. The idea behind that is that in any physical position, the mass of the hairspring is fairly centered, which makes for very regular timekeeping. The thing with a flat hairspring is that its mass is generally more off to one side, so in certain positions it'll run fast and slow. With an overcoil, you don't really have that problem. Now, the watch has a fairly slow beat rate of 3 hertz, so it's got nice stately cadence to it. You can see that the escape wheel has been black polished, and there's a lot about this that is characteristic of Grönefeld finishing. First, let's finish up with the tech specs. All of this is water resistant to 30 meters, so don't take it swimming. And I know you're probably wondering, and yes, the watch does feature a stop seconds or hacking function. Now we can drill down and really talk about the finish of this G05, the fifth movement created by the Grönefeld brothers. The bridges, they're all made of stainless steel, and you can see that many of them feature the sloped profile of a traditional Dutch bell gable roof, because that is where the Grönefelds are from. They make their watches in Oldenzaal in the Netherlands. They are Dutch. They are Orange Army. We also have triple finishing on each bridge. You can see that each bridge has a recess that's media blasted in the center. Then there is a satin channel that's raised and relieved around the edge. And then if you look at it in profile, you can see there's also mirrored anglage on the edge of those satin channels. So 3 different types of finishing on each bridge. And the bridges are steel, stainless steel, which is very difficult to finish. It's a hard, relentless, unyielding metal, a lot tougher than brass or German silver. It also opens up opportunities for gorgeous black polishing of large-scale components. For example, you can see that the bridge for the locking lever mechanism is black mirror polished all the way across its top, undoubtedly finished with diamond paste or perhaps a zinc block. The wheels are distinctive. You can see all the wheels feature the Grönefeld's signature double spoke design, reminiscent of high-performance automobile alloys. And look at the attention to detail. They've done the same for the escape wheel. There's a lot of black polish here. Black polish is polish that is optically smooth, and from every angle except one looks black. That's why all those surfaces turn black when I rotate the movement. Take a look at the ratchet wheel atop the barrel. The barrel is solarized, but the ratchet wheel is dramatically and exquisitely solarized. You can see the well at center is black polished and recessed. All screw heads black polished with chamfered slots in circumference. There's engine turned perlage on the base plate, satination on the tops of the wheels. And if you look very carefully, you can actually see that the teeth of the ratchet wheel, these are individually micro-polished internally. So this is a very impressive feat of both engineering and fine finishing. And you'd expect nothing less from the Grönefelds. They're veterans in the industry. They cut their teeth on finishing parts for Audemars Piguet, Renault et Papy, and that really shines through on the watches they produce today. Again, 188 movements made for the Remontoire series, no more being made. So reach out to Team Mosso at thewatchbox.com for purchase and pricing details, and you too can marvel at this extraordinary 32mm diameter movement, fitting the case like hand in glove. Reach out to Team Mosso at thewatchbox.com for pricing.